Kanyon production.
Hey, have you ever wanted to wear some stylish clothes while expressing your faith? Are you someone who thinks about your whole purpose being here? Or maybe you just want to encourage people to keep going. Well, if you said yes to any of those, then we have the solution. Call to Purpose is a small Christian clothing brand that values and prioritizes the idea that God has a purpose for each and every one of us. So we allow you to look good, dress nice, while expressing your faith and pursuing God's purpose for your life. So you don't have to struggle to look around to find good Christian apparel anymore. We have what you need. So go follow the Instagram account Call to Purpose to see not only the website of our apparel, but to be gifted with constant motivational posts to keep you going through your day. That's CALLTOPURPOSE with an underscore at the end. What is up, you guys? It is your favorite podcast host. To all of my people that are listening on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Kindle listener, or anything else that I did not name and mention, I thank you for listening in, okay? I hope everybody has been doing good. I hope everybody has been blessed thus far. I have been extra busy. I'm not even gonna lie. Between being busy and just being tired, I just really haven't been doing anything. I had a whole bunch of topics listed, and I had a whole bunch of things that I wanted to just randomly talk about. And I was in the process of planning a whole bunch of stuff. I got in contact with some musicians and got in contact with some creatives that I wanted to bring in on the podcast. So I know that is a work in progress. Um, some are further planned along than others. I plan on possibly having one of them happening probably next month. So that episode will probably come out between the middle of May or the beginning of June. So we'll figure out how that is going to be set up. But yeah, man, we've been working. Just been busy. Um, Not only that, the NFL draft just happened. WrestleMania just wrapped up. Um, NBA playoffs are here, so brother been busy. You feel me? um, all jokes aside, I hope everybody's been doing good. I've just been busy with everything. My time's just been everywhere. My attention has just been everywhere. And, sometimes it's just good to, take a step back and just try to regain your composure, try to recuperate and get your energy back. As I'm saying that, I was just preparing a whole bunch of things for the live streams that I would be doing. I know for the people that follow my Instagram, um, they kind of gave some questions and gave some polls on if I were to do just a live stream, just me playing the keys, or if I'm doing a live stream of how I learn a song, or me doing a live stream of me making a track or me making some loops or whatever I'm doing. People said that they want to tune in. Some people gave some songs that they would want me to learn live. So I was in the process of taking care of that stuff. And for those that know, I really don't got to explain it. But those that know how hard it is to try to maneuver softwares and sound equipment and trying to make sure everything is adjusted the right way and trying to make sure everything is just working smoothly, you understand the struggle. So it's just been a lot, a lot on my plate recently, and I definitely had my mind on doing another podcast episode, but things just kept popping up. But I took the time out and I found a little sliver of space to where I could record something. So here we are. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm glad God has given me another day, grace and mercy, another opportunity just to open my eyes on this earth. I'm happy I could just talk to you guys, approach some topics or whatever that we may go over, whether it be music related, whether it be character related for musicians and creatives and all of that stuff. I'm just happy to be here, man. But look, I've been talking for a good couple of minutes, so I'm done rambling. I am done rambling, and we are just going to hop into the episode. Um, as I always say, you guys see the episode title. We're going to be talking about arrogance today. All right. Um, I will. I'll give this story first. I was trying to think about how I wanted to operate on it, but I'll give this story first to just kind of give framework. But my last episode, if you haven't checked it out, music versus media, I dived into a couple topics about the struggle between musicians and just like the craft of music, and then what media has kind of done to influence that, specifically pertaining to musicians and singers. And it can pertain to like production type people in a way. Uh, just like how people approach things, just trying to go crazy on the creativity, and not saying anything is wrong with that, but sometimes we just forget the base foundation of what we're doing. But I want to tell this story before I dive into the topic for this episode. I was actually on social media when I found this out. See what social media does. But anyway, I was on Instagram, I believe, and I'm a church musician, so I'm seeing a whole bunch of clips on my For You page about a whole bunch of things that are happening in church. Some musicians post some clips of praise breaks, worship moments, or just them playing songs. This particular clip was focusing on a bump. I think it was a guitarist. It was a guitarist that was playing, and it was a good guitarist. I ain't got nothing to ain't nothing to, against him or nothing like that. He was a dope guitarist. Seemed pretty cool. Dude could definitely play. But it was something particular I saw in the comments, and it was one guy, I believe, that actually had remade what he did, and he had a video on his page, and he basically remade it or tried to remake it, and basically was doing a video of him playing what that other guy did. And long story short, the guy ended up getting in his comments the let me make sure it's clear. The first musician that made the loop and made the little riff got in the others guy's comments, and outside looking in, it looked like he was spazzing. Like, he was like, "Hey, yo, man, like, nah, that's not it at all. You don't got it, bro. Like, you gotta do some more practice," or like, just like along those lines. And me just like reading the comment, I'm like, that kind of rubbed me a certain way. That kind of made me feel a certain way because you're looking at somebody try to recreate something that you did because it was so cool and so good, and then you turn around and you just like, nah, bro, like, that's bad, bro. That's not at all what I did, bro. Like, you gotta keep working. You feel me? And some people like that will call it constructive criticism or something. Nah, I'm not calling it that at all. We know what constructive criticism is, and spazzing out like that because somebody admired your work and tried to do it and then saying like, nah, you ain't got it. That just, it kind of messed with me a certain way. But that specific thing kind of made me think about the past episode that I did. And it kind of made me just think about the idea of how arrogant us musicians, us singers, us, hey, if you're a sound engineer listening, us sound engineers, um, production guys, producers, whatever you want to label yourself as. Um, it's I'll say it's crazy how arrogant and how prideful we can get when we remember that we were in a place like that. And it's a terrible thing to do as somebody of that level, like somebody of that professional type status or somebody that has that type of recognition. Like the last thing you want people saying about you is you could play the mess out your instrument, or like you can, like, whatever you're doing is so good, like you're doing it in excellence, like everything that you're doing is like perfect, but then they talk about your character being trash. And that's where the plot thickens. Okay. um I personally think that is one thing that just messes up the music community in general, because you always have us just trying to one up each other. You know, you got singers trying to one up each other, talking about who I had the ability to perform with and who I was able to connect with, and just trying to gatekeep tips and tricks on how to become better singers. And then like you hear somebody else doing stuff bad, and you just like, oh yeah, that can never be me. Or like just bashing people because they're not at your level. Or in the musician side, you got, drummers, you got key players, you got bassists, you got guitarists, you got organ players that, like some of those guys are way more frequent to see than um like professional singers or like professional production guys or whatever. But you see musicians everywhere. And of course, musicians take time into their craft and they spend as much time as they can to try to perfect what they're doing, trying to clean up any messiness, clean up any sloppiness in their playing. But then you got people that look up to you, or you got people that kind of admire you, or you just got people that are like genuinely infatuated with how you play. Like you got people that's like, man, you are like really good. You feel me? And like you got people complimenting you just like out of the genuineness of their heart. Like you got people out here like really genuine, like, bro, I wish I could play like you. And they're like, yeah, like I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And then you just crush everything in them because why? You didn't want to respond to a message, or you didn't want to be tagged in a video, or you didn't want to be approached in this type of way because you felt like you were better than them, or you felt as though they couldn't access you because what? You made it. It's a messy situation because if you and I'll say it to all of the musicians really. I It was a quote that somebody said to me, and I think somebody sent it to me as well. But it was saying if you have a talent, like if you have like a crazy talent that is recognized by like everybody, you know, it was talking about how good you can be, and then it based it off of the scripture to where it says your gift makes room for you, but your character keeps you in that room. And a lot of times we have a whole bunch of guys out here um, that have the skill level to do so much, but then their character kicks them right out. Like, have you ever met a musician that was so good and then you just tried to have a conversation with him and then you just like, man, you a jerk. Like, you just like, no, I don't want to talk to you no more. It's not because like you're not admiring their skill, but it's like, bro, like why you gotta be a jerk about stuff, or like why you gotta be mean, or why you gotta be extra. You feel me? It's something that we definitely have to work on. It's something that we all have to take into consideration because we got to think about, yo, I was that guy that didn't know how to play Jack. I was that guy that didn't know how to. I couldn't tell what key was what key. I'm looking at the keyboard. There was a time to where I didn't know the difference between the white keys and the black keys. The bass players, I didn't know you had to use all your fingers to go down the fretboard, and I didn't know you had to use all your fingers to pluck the strings or guitars. I didn't know you needed all of these things to know about the nuances of scales and all of this extra stuff and drummers. I didn't know you needed to know how to have these accents and all of these extra stuff. But now, once you learn what you learn, and once you get to a place to where you feel accomplished and like you made the big stage, now it's like nobody can touch you. And that is definitely not a way to go about. Like I've connected with some dope musicians, some professional musicians at that, and I'll definitely commend them because it's so many good musicians that I was able to connect with to where I just had a conversation with them, and they're like, "Man, listen, all you got to do is do this. All you got to do is link up with this, work towards this." And it wasn't like they were getting anything out of the conversation, but it was just like them being genuine. It's just like, yo, like, let me just help you out. You ask me a question, I can help you out. There's no point in gatekeeping. Now, I'm not saying they got to tell all their secrets, but at the same time, I'm just like, hey, like, help me out a little bit. You feel me? And I think arrogance is one of the main things that kind of disrupts everything because you end up having so many talented musicians beefing and lashing out on one another, and you end up having so many good musicians that can't stand one another because everybody feels like they're superior to everybody. Like you have some musicians thinking, since I played this way back in the like the old era, like y'all don't got nothing. Like I'm the real dude, and then you got guys nowadays like, man, you can't touch me because I have the ability to do all of these things, and I play in all of these areas, and I get invited to all of these churches, and you're beneath me. It's not a good way to go about things at all. It's really not a good impression to not only people who want to be musicians, but just people that are just interested in the skill and craftsmanship of what we do. Like you got singers that are more than willing to just reach out to people and say, yo, like I'm trying to develop my singing, I'm trying to get better in this area. And then you just like, oh well, just like figure it out. Or like, yeah, you got a whole bunch of work you need or something. You're like, man, come on, help a brother out. you know, it's one of those things to where we just gotta do better, man. We gotta do better. And in order to do better, we kinda just gotta push our pride to the side. I'm not gonna say kinda. I mean, like that's what's gotta happen really. Being a musician is automatically one of those things that gets everybody's eyes on us. And being a musician, of course, you have the capabilities and just like everybody else a part of that spectrum, like singers, musicians, production guys, or whatever. Um, Everybody has those capabilities that other people can't do. So automatically, it's like, yo, you're one of one. But at the same time, it's no point of putting your pride up in the air and skyrocketing your ego because you feel as though nobody is better than you and nobody can even come close to you, and you're that guy and all of these other things that you'll say about yourself. And you're like, bro, like we understand you're talented, but you being prideful isn't going to help anybody. It's not even really going to help yourself. It's not going to benefit you in the long run because you're going to end up having a whole bunch of people that don't care about you because you could play the mess out of whatever you're playing. You could do anything to like a perfect skill level. Like whatever you're doing, whatever performing you're doing, everything that you're doing can like sound so good. But then because of you being so arrogant and because of you having a strong sense of pride, you're just like, yeah, I'm that guy. You're like, buddy, you ain't got no friends. Buddy, you're lonely. Like, come on, man. If I could suggest anything, if I could encourage anything, just stay humble. Stay humble, stay humble. Stay humble, have humility, and not that fake humility to where people are, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm only doing this. You're like, no, we can tell that you're being fake right now. Stay humble. I promise you. Being humble and having a large amount of humility will open many doors that your skills won't even get you in. Because there's going to be some instances to where people won't even know your real skill. Like people won't really experience how skillful you really are, but they'll be introduced by your character, you know. They'll be introduced to you by the first impression that you give off because of you being so like meek and lowly. Like imagine no one ever knowing that you can really play, but then because of your character being so strong and your character having like such a low like a low spirit, like you're just like calm, collected. No one's thinking of you as egotistical. Nobody's thinking of you as like a super prideful guy. Nobody's thinking of you as somebody that is literally just like throwing their name around is like they're the best big thing and they're the top thing. And everybody's trying to build a brand now and everything. But it's like, bro, everybody's going to be attracted to you if they like know your character. Like before your brand gets big, before your name gets popular and everything, I guarantee you a lot of people are gonna say, yo, this dude is a dope dude. There's gonna be plenty of people that's like, yo, this dude is a chill dude. This dude is a cool, calm, collected dude. This dude is the most humble dude that I know. And it's those character, those character evaluations that really just make people think, hey, like I'm trying to, like whatever you need, look, let me know. Whatever, like we got opportunities for you, let us know. Like you need anything, you got any engagements or whatever, like we trying to get you over here, like all of that stuff. It's not just having the skill for it. And I know we're trying to be more skillful and more masterful in what we do, and that's totally respectable and understandable. But when we focus on our skill, but then we puff our heads up to the point to where nobody can tell us anything, it does so bad to our reputation. Like I've heard plenty of stories about people that that just talk about dope musicians, but them just being treated bad about it, or not about it, but like being treated bad by them. And they're like, yeah, this dude is like dope, man. He could play, he could kill, but I'm never inviting him or I'm never reaching out to him because his attitude is nasty. Or this dude is just like mean, or this dude just like extra prideful, or like you can't tell him nothing, or like anything like that. That's going to be the downfall of whatever career you really want. I promise you. I promise you that is going to be the downfall of your career before you even start anything. So, tip of advice, man. Tip of advice. Get the arrogance out the window, man. Try to be coachable. Try to be teachable. Throw your ego out the way, because literally all of us was at that point at one time to where all of us had to have a whole bunch of things we needed worked on. We had to have somebody to look to get better. We had to have some type of teaching or tutorials that we needed, or we had to have some type of breakthrough in our playing in order to get better to the level we're at today. So take that into consideration. To whomever this is going to, um, if the shoe fits, whoever's listening to this, take this, receive it, hold on to it, because it's stressful seeing a whole bunch of dope musicians and musicians that can play like so good, but then you interact with them and then you just like, bro, your character is trash, and then you're just like, yeah, I don't even really care about your talent because like you're just a nasty person, you know. So definitely hold on to this, keep this in your mind, keep this in the forefront of your mind. Try to do better. Keep this, hold this up. Let's just aim to not have our egos overriding everything. Self awareness and being egotistical and being prideful are completely different. I can know I'm good at something, but then I don't really have to be big headed and prideful about it. So that's my 2 cents, man. If you're still listening, thank you so much for listening to the whole episode. If you enjoyed, definitely leave a like. Subscribe to whatever platform you're listening on, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Apple Podcast. I know Google had one at one point. I'm not sure if it's still on there. Um, I don't know if I said YouTube already, but go check the YouTube channel out. We're going to be doing some more stuff on there. Check the Facebook page out. Whatever platform you're on, please check us out. It would be very much appreciated if you support it, whether you left a comment, whether you left a like, whether you followed, subscribed. However you're supporting, it would be very much appreciated. I thank you guys for all the support that you've already given, but please don't let it stop here, okay? So as always, guys, love you all. Talk to you guys later. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.